On this episode of EcoTalk, we focus our shift to innovations that bring local solution. Now, Mombasa County has been facing an uphill task in managing its solid waste. The county generates up to 23 tons of solid waste every day, but only 25% of it is collected. The rest is left lying idle on the streets, finding its way into sewer lines and to oceans, and of course posing a great health hazards to the residents. But thanks to guys like Fredrick Otieno, has innovated a domestic incinerator that can burn all domestic waste into ashes. Shortly, we will be speaking to the man behind this noble idea, but first, let's get to meet the incinerator itself. Now this is the complete domestic incinerator. Now let's open from inside. You see, we have got the ash collection point, which is here, and this ash can be removed through these points. We have got the primary combustion chamber and the secondary combustion chamber. Then we have got the heating chamber. This is where our hot water is being heated. From the outside, you can see the cold water tank is connected to the incinerator. And here is the outlet pipe for our incinerator. Okay. So I think now we can test it. With what material is it made of? This incinerator is purely made of metal. Okay. Yeah, metal, nothing else. Scrap metal? Yeah, scrap metal. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Let's heat it up.
Once the fire has been lit at the primary chamber, it is this heat that is expected to burn waste in the secondary chamber. Generally, the primary chamber contains waste that requires less heat to burn, such as paper, and the secondary chamber has waste that needs more heat, such as plastic. The heating chambers are then closed, and the temperature inside can rise to about 200 degrees, which means that it has to be closed tightly, and the person manning the incinerator must be very careful to avoid any accidents. Heat from the secondary chamber hits the coils where the water begins to flow, cold water pushing out warm water. In most cases, the hot water may come out as vapor, depending on how high the temperature rises to. This being a prototype, the smoke can adversely affect the environment unless the chimney, which is still under research, is fixed. The chimney will reduce the smoke to a point where it will be physically impossible to see it, meaning almost zero negative impacts on environment and health.
I am now joined by Fredrick Otieno, the man behind this noble idea of a domestic incinerator. Fredrick, welcome to EcoTalk.
Thank you.
Now, you are an immediate former student of the Technical University of Mombasa.
Yes.
What did you study and how did that help you to come up with this idea?
Now, in Technical University of Mombasa, I did Bachelor's of Technology in Renewable Energy and Environmental Physics. Okay. These are two-sided course which it has got the aspect of energy and the aspect of environment. So under the aspect of environment, we are trying to utilize physical principle to solve environmental problem, especially waste management and pollution control. That's actually where I got the idea of coming up with this machine.
Now, about the idea of coming up with this incinerator, where were you? How did that idea hit you up? And what was the problem that you were facing at that time that you felt that a domestic incinerator could be the solution?
Basically, living in Mombasa, I've walked around, I've seen the condition of waste, I've visited the dumping site, I've seen how waste is overcrowded. So you find that basically most of the developing nations, they depend on landfill sites as a method of managing their waste. But this method is inefficient and it also faces challenges as a result to increase in population that poses a stress in the country natural resources, resulting to lack of enough land to be used as a landfill site. So you find due to these people who are trying to manage their own waste, they will end up throwing this waste carelessly along the streets, along the roads, everywhere. So in order to solve this problem, we need to develop an idea that can actually solve this. And an already existing idea is an incineration process, which is a method of managing waste. And as a method of managing waste, it has the advantage of reducing the volume of waste by 90% of its mass. So I saw that in order for this method to be effective, then it must be applied at the waste generation point, which is the domestic level. So through this, we'll be able to reduce the volume of waste that end up in landfill site, thus reducing the size of land that was supposed to be used for waste management and saving it so that it can be used for other purpose, economic purpose. And at the same time, we are making the city clean. So basically, that's what brought or fueled the idea. Yeah.
Now I know the process of coming up with something is not a walk in the park. How long has it taken you to come up with this prototype behind us here? So, and how has been the journey?
The journey has been quite full of up and down. In order to come up with this idea, or in order for this innovation to be what it is today, it has gone through a number of steps. Where we have got the research step, we have got the development stage, and we have got the testing and further development and improvement stage. Then now we have got the final result. So all these have taken me a period of 9 months.
Now, John, I know coming up with innovation like this and building it up is not a walk in the park. How long has it taken you to build this incinerator we see behind us here?
Yeah, now to answer your question, I'll actually say in order for you to develop an idea, there are some stages which you must go. So for my case, there was the development stage, the research stage, and the testing stage. So all these stages took me a period of 1 month in order for it to be complete. But if I exclude the other stages and research and testing, actually the machine took me 1 month to build it.
Now, another question is that an innovation in Kenya must meet a certain threshold. There are guidelines and regulations that are set. So, have you taken your idea to any of these bodies? Which are these bodies, and how has been the response so far?
So, actually, in Kenya, we have the body that is governing this incinerator is actually the NEMA. And the NEMA, they have given the guidelines on how to operate, and at the same time, they have given the stack emission, the rate of stack emission that is required. So based on that data, I've been able, and I'm working to ensure that I've reached the standard that they require, so that they can license the machine. Also, I've partnered with the community-based organization, which are the actual people who are dealing with waste management. So I've sold to them this idea so that after this point, they'll be the people who will embrace the idea and put it into action.
So let's talk about patenting. Have you applied for patenting, and at what stage are you in at the moment?
Actually, the NEMA guys gave me the expertise, but you know, being a regulatory body, they cannot control all of it. So they actually recommended for me to work with other people who can help me in monitoring, because we need to do monitoring of the pollution, and that's why I'm planning now to involve the Polycon guys in monitoring of the emission being emitted by this thing. Yeah.
Talking about innovation, it means that it's a new idea.
Yeah.
You have brought in an aspect of a new idea, a new aspect into the incinerator itself. Now, for you to call this idea yours, to fully own it, it must be patented.
Yeah.
Some times ago, when we were talking about this, you said the Technical University of Mombasa was the one that was helping you to patent this idea.
Yeah.
So have you actually formalized the application, and how far has the process gone?
Already we have completed the first stage. We are now in the second stage where the application has been returned in order for us to add any improvement before final application and processing of the patent. Yeah. So I'm on that second stage, and since I'm still working on the pollution, I've decided to rest a bit so that when I finish, I patent the whole idea now.
What do you mean you're working on the pollution?
Yeah, actually the main problem that I'm facing is actually the air pollution control, because burning this waste will result to production of smoke. Now when these smoke are released in the environment, they are toxic, and they can result to other global disaster. So there is a need to control this. So in order to control this, the countries have agreed to a certain standard or a certain amount that must be emitted.
Yeah.
So now I'm working to ensure that I'm lower. I've reached that amount, and I've even go further lower below that amount so that it can be accepted.
What is the standard that you're working to achieve?
The standard is I'm working to achieve 2 times lower than the set standard.
The set standard being 1.5.
Yeah.
Or what is the set standard? Probably 1.5.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fine. Now, what are the challenges? What are the challenges that you have had during this process, during your entire process?
The challenges has mainly been on the development. You find that you have built certain part, it is not functioning the way you expected, so you have to deconstruct it,
Okay.
do further research,
Yeah.
improve it, work on it. Number 2, being a student, I need money to do this research, so capital has been a challenge also, and also time, because I have to balance my studies and at the same time I'm working on the project. So far those are the challenges that I have faced.
Finally, so when you have your certificate of patenting and this prototype, you have achieved all the set regulations that are there. What is the way forward? Do you now want to give it free to people? How do you want to now go ahead with this?
Now the way forward is, number 1, I'll be selling this to hotel, schools, and other institutions. Number 2, I will also sell it to the community-based organization, which are majorly dealing with waste management. Number 3, I'm planning to introduce this idea or to take this idea to the county level, Department of Waste and Energy, especially in Mombasa, so that they can see how they can embrace it and maybe replace the normal waste collection centers to be waste management centers now, where these centers will be fitted by this incinerator, and rather than waste being brought at this point, then they wait for a certain time for it to accumulate, then they collect it. Now this waste can be brought at this point, then managed at this point through incineration, and now what they'll come to collect will be ash, which they'll take to the landfill site. And you find now with this, it will create employment to many youths, because people will be required to operate this machine, people will be required to transport waste to this point, will need drivers, and that will be a job opportunity for many Kenyan youths.
So John, thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you.
And we wish you all the best in your idea.
Yeah.
It has been an informative and a learning session here we've had with John. And of course, we will be looking out for when the incinerator will be fully developed and ready for purchase and for use in our domestic home. Thank you so much for watching this episode of EcoTalk. We ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, EcoTalk Kenya, so that you can receive prompt notifications on all the other episodes that we will be producing in future. And in case you would like to partner with us for production of these episodes, we ask you to send us an email at ecotalkkenya@gmail.com, or you can send a direct email to myself, kngeti@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and until next time, it's bye-bye.